Act 1, Scene 2. Setting: a dimly lit church basement. The walls are cinder block, painted with faded cream tones. A circle of mismatched chairs surrounds a low coffee table, bearing a half empty pot of coffee, some teacups, and a plate of untouched cookies. A single overhead bulb flickers, shadows shift against a poster that reads, "Our grief survives. We are not alone." A small analog clock ticks loudly on the far wall, its hands frozen at 3:70. At the rise, Edward and Julia sit alone, side by side. Linda, Tom, and Clara complete the circle. The air is thick with unspoken sorrow. Clara stands, smoothing her cardigan, and her eyes scan the group with practiced warmth. She
Good
said,
evening, everyone. I'm so glad you could all make it tonight. Let's start our check ins by sharing a little bit about how we've been faring this week, okay? Edward, would you like to start?
Yeah, Clara. I suppose so. This week's been tough, but my mind keeps going back to that accident. Even after all these years sober, the night terrors won't stop. The guilt and shame just linger, never fading away. I still struggle to look myself in the mirror, and most mornings, I have to force myself out of bed, searching for a reason to even get up. But I met someone new this week. Someone who truly reminded me that there is still so much beauty left in this world. And that gives me hope.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Edward. It's important to acknowledge these moments of simple beauty, even amidst our continuing pain. Who would like to share next?
I've had a rough week too. Adjusting to life without my fiancé Brian has been really hard. It's really hard to say his name without seeing those sad, heartbreaking eyes in my mind. Sometimes it genuinely feels like this pain is going to last forever. The flashbacks come so suddenly and hit so hard that my heart just starts racing uncontrollably out of nowhere. But honestly, coming to this group really gives me a small but meaningful sense of hope. And connecting with people who truly get what I'm dealing with helps way more than I ever expected or imagined it would.
I think we all feel that way sometimes, Julia. Look, the reality is, we're all here because we're not all there. This group has been such a lifeline for me. The support and understanding we share here are what keep me going some days. I agree with that. It's so hard to talk about these things with people who haven't experienced loss the way we have. Here we can be ourselves without any judgment.
Has anyone here found any helpful ways to cope with the physical reminders of their trauma? My prosthetic leg is a constant reminder of everything I've faced. Sometimes it feels overwhelming and hard to bear.
Shit, I get that. Julia, look, for me, it's my husband's old clothes, you know? Like, I could never bring myself to get rid of them, and seeing them most days can be both comforting and painful at the same time. I just recently started donating some of them to charity, albeit just one piece at a time, but I think it helps me feel like I'm honoring his memory while also moving forward, kinda.
Look, we all got our shit, right? I mean, I keep my sister's favorite book on my nightstand. It's my way of keeping her close. But I also make sure to talk to my therapist about the feelings that it brings up. It's important to find a balance between holding on and letting go. But I can definitely relate to the night terror also. And these nightmares keep happening despite several changes to my medication.
Maybe it's about finding what works for you, Julia. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to grieve here. We're all here to support each other in finding our own paths towards healing. And everyone, just thank you so much for sharing tonight. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. We'll see you all again next week. Can we close with a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer for all who care to join?
You ever notice how these grief meetings feel like a open mic night sometimes? But the jokes are all about your Mom. No, we're like, your mom. I mean, I tell another one, my Oedipus filter keeps cutting me off at the insertion point. Censorship.
And let's try to keep the profanity and crosstalk to a minimum, pursuant to as our group conscience dictates and standard operating protocols demand. Julia, honey, was you on one of them real nice cruises when that shark got you? You know, I read this article about them coastal accidents in the tropics and like bad shit that happens to people on vacation and whatnot. Yo, you should try to get on that show, right? Maybe? Sorry.